Hey, welcome to another episode of Rags to Riches. Today's special guest is Ms. Monique, and we will be discussing how to repair your credit. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you today?
I am pretty good. So, can you give everyone a rundown of what exactly that you do?
Sure. So I have been in this space for about 27 years. I do credit rest. I'm a credit advocate, credit repair advocate. I am a funding specialist. I am a private banker. We do loans. We do credit boosting. I do financial education. So I do quite a
Okay.
number of things. But in this space, my goal is to really teach people how to take credit and to utilize it for the wealth building tool that it is. So most people look at credit as I just need to fix my credit to go and get a house or a car. My job is
Right.
to show you how to make, manage, and multiply money using credit because credit was actually intended for you to build wealth, not just get a whole lot of debt. Get debt that actually pays you, not just access debt. So that's part of what I do with my mission in my business.
Okay, so she dibbling dabbling a lot,
A
y'all.
little
Definitely check
something.
her out.
A
And
little bit.
how long you say you've been repairing credit and
Mm, Probably, I've had this business next month will be 15 years.
awesome.
I started in real estate when I was about 21 or so. So I've been in this industry for a long time. I'll be 51. In
Well, you
different
look good, honey.
Thank you. So I've been in this industry for a very long time, but I stay in this space mainly because I see that a lot of us as melanated people, we're
Right.
so far behind. My mission is to help people to catch up. And the best way to do that is to learn how to leverage credit because there's three ways to get access to assets and money. It's cash, credit, or collateral. If you don't have collateral or cash, credit is the next best thing that you can use. And it's the easiest thing that you can use. So that's why I focus so much on that so I can help, especially the current generation
Right.
and future, older generations who got lost in that space have them
Right.
catch up so that they can have a good retirement because at some point we're all going to get old right so
Right. It's
and
true.
we don't want to work forever so
Correct. So what made you want to become a credit specialist?
well it really wasn't on my radar. Again, I started in real estate and then I got into the mortgage space. And then, if you remember, in 2008, there was that whole mortgage implosion, right? So
Hmm.
everything was falling apart. And I knew the kind of money I made as a loan officer, I wouldn't be able to go and get a regular job.
Right.
So I had to sit back and realize I had to pivot. One of the things you have to learn how to do in life is pivot. And I
Correct.
decided to start my own business after losing everything. We lost our townhome, we lost all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
And I decided to sit at my computer one day and I said, Lord, you know what? I got to turn this thing into my own personal ATM. And so that was October. In November, I had made 10,000, and then the rest is history from there. So I've
Awesome.
been moving ever since. And like I said, next month will be 15 years.
That is so awesome. So what do you think are the biggest challenges people face when it comes to managing credit?
The biggest challenge is no one ever taught people how to utilize credit, right? A
Right.
lot of people just feel like I'm just going to max it out, or if they have a 20, $30,000 limit, they're going to go and buy the $4,500 bag. They're going to just go buy the $2,000 pair of shoes, and none of that actually is going to bring about any cash flow, right? How about we take that $20,000 and go put it on a buy a property? You can buy land. You can there's a lot of cities selling homes for $1,000, even $500. You can,
Wow.
there are auctions out there where you can use your credit card and swipe it and actually get an asset, and then put some tenants in there.
Right.
Not only are you helping yourself to bring in cash flow, but you're helping people who need a place to live, and then you're creating a way to now have cash flow to pay for that card and also continuously pay you. The way people get wealthy is they create ways that money constantly comes in, right? So we sign up for T-Mobile or we sign up for a mortgage loan, we're paying that money every month passively. We have to learn how to do the same for ourselves. Find ways to get money to constantly come into ourselves and we can use credit to help leverage us in that position.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are some of the biggest mistakes people make when they are trying to repair credit?
Well, they don't know the laws, right? So there are a lot of consumer laws that actually do protect consumers, but they don't know that. So a lot of people will try and just do disputes online,
Right.
say through Experian or Equifax, through their portals, but they don't realize that when they do that, they're giving up their right to actually sue them, because there's ways that you can actually sue the credit bureaus for not responding, for not responding to your request to have something removed or even investigated. And when you do it online, you give up your rights because you're not reading the fine print, right? So
Wow.
they will just ignore your request. Now, when you know your laws, and we know the laws, so we will
Right.
put this out and put it out in your favor when we're challenging this information with the bureaus. And if they don't respond, and they don't respond in a timely manner, then that can be up to $1,000 that you get for
Oh
each
wow.
infraction, right? So they will kind of move a little quicker to when you start threatening them in that way.
Right.
So,
Wow.
but a lot of people don't realize that they have a lot of rights. A lot of the information on their credit reports are wrong. So if you look at all three bureaus should have the same information,
Right.
but a lot of them will have different dates, different dollar amounts, different close dates, different all kinds of stuff. If it's not accurate, the number one rule is that it has to be accurate. If not, it has to be removed, even if it is your debt. If it's
Oh
not if
wow.
it's not reporting right, then it can definitely be removed. So
That is good to know.
that's
That's
that's the number one
awesome.
rule. That's
Wow.
the number one rule that people need to understand. So we actually train people in one of our platforms on how to do this. And because one of the things I want to do is make sure people understand how their credit is actually put together, so that when they are challenging, or if they run into the situation again, because we understand that bad things happen to good people, they might lose a
Right.
job or something, and they may have to do this again. Why not learn how to do this the right way, so that if you need to, you don't have to pay a whole lot of money, but you can still have that support within our platform to do it.
Right.
So yeah.
That's awesome. That is what's up. This is some good stuff. Y'all better be taking notes, guys. So what is the biggest challenge for you when repairing someone's credit?
Oh God. The client.
They are.
The client. So most of the time it takes people what, 2, 3, 5, 10 years to mess up their credit
Yeah.
file. They come to us and they want it repaired in 30 days. Like, make it make sense. Like, that's not gonna
Right.
happen. So, it's not impossible. I will tell
Right.
people that it's not impossible, but it's not probable. So we
Right.
need people to be realistic. We need you to have a goal. Like, don't say I'm trying to buy this house or close on this house in 90 days and you want us to get it off in 60 days. And this could be a
Right.
bankruptcy or something. Bankruptcies can be, that's another thing. A lot of people don't realize that the court system doesn't report those, like child support, they don't report bankruptcies. So there's no reason for that information to be on your credit report. So there are
Wow.
third party companies that go to the courthouses because this information is public, and they add this to the credit file. They go scouring through the records to have it, and they sell it to the credit monitoring agencies, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. They sell this information to them. So our data is for sale all the time.
Wow.
These people make millions upon millions of dollars every year selling our data. Even our bad credit is worth a lot of money. Our bad credit is worth even more money, because people
Wow.
with good credit don't get high interest rates, right?
True.
So they have those subprime lenders that are, eagerly buying this debt so that they can sell you the 15%, the 19.9% interest rates, because you have bad credit. So you still need a car. So you come get this car. We'll give you a 2014 car for $550 a month.
Woo. True. Yeah, that
But
that
that's the
makes
type of
plenty of
thing that
sense.
happens. And
Yeah.
but it's the consumer that winds up being the biggest challenge. We just need people who are coachable, people who are realistic, and just have realistic expectations. It's not going to happen overnight because you didn't tarnish your credit overnight. Just be real,
Sure.
and we'll guide you through the process, and just follow the rules. If you're with us working, don't try and apply for new credit while we're working.
Right.
Don't try and max out your credit cards or, crazy things like that. That happens all the time. So, it's just following the rules while we're working.
Yeah, that makes sense though. So,
Yeah.
getting a credit card, does that really help with building credit?
Oh yeah. That's the one. A credit card is really, because it's revolving, means it's never ending,
Right.
right? So when an installment loan like your car loan or your mortgage loan, that's going to end. And you will soon realize that when that card is or that debt or that account closes, you see that your credit score will drop a little bit because the account closed. But credit cards, as long as you keep paying on them, you keep using them, it's revolving. And people need to learn how to use their credit cards more than they use their debit cards, because your debit cards don't give you the points that your credit cards give you.
Right.
Right. So you can earn points with that. So if you're grocery shopping, use your credit card. Just use the cash from your checking account to pay the bill. That's all. And because you're going to get the points. That's why when you see people sometimes in restaurants and it's a group of people, somebody will say, just send me the money and I'll pay the bill, because they know
Right.
they're going to get a lot of points.
Okay.
So they're like, yeah, just send me this cash at me, I'll pay it.
Right.
That person understands that's travel points. That's a whole lot of
Right.
things that you can actually get because of that. So yeah, it's credit cards definitely. And the more you have to look at your relationship with your creditors as a partnership, like a business
Right.
relationship. What you scratch their back, they'll scratch your back, right? So if you're paying um credit cards on time, what's going to happen is they're going to start to increase your limits. They're going to give you more perks. They're going to give you more money. And then, not to max it out, but it does help to say that I have a larger credit limit.
Right.
Or maybe you might want to use that larger credit limit to go maybe put a down payment on a house or buy an asset with it. Why not? Especially if it's a low interest rate credit card, right?
Right.
So these are the things that we teach people how to do, because when you have that credit, you can, people buy houses, they buy cars. We can show you how to get into a luxury car business doing this, and then turning that into like a good $500 to $1,500 a day profit just doing
Woo.
that business. And that's passive income coming in, and that
Right.
pays for the car that you just got. So it's little things that we show our clients how to do, not just to get a clean credit file and then just go get a single family house. A single family house does not produce income to you. That's a liability, honestly. Right?
So,
When you have a multi-family house and you live in one unit and your tenants are paying for everything else, now that house has become an asset, because you get to live rent free while everybody else is paying for you to live there. And
makes
they don't
sense.
even have to know you're the landlord.
Right. That
So
makes sense.
yeah.
That, hey, this is some good stuff, I'm telling you. So is it hard to maintain good credit?
No, you just have to be disciplined. I will tell you, there are people who don't have jobs who live off their credit,
Hmm.
who don't have jobs and live off their credit. They travel, they do all kinds of things, they live, they pay their rent, they do all kinds of stuff now, because you can do that. Credit is not income, it's not looked upon as income. So
Okay.
getting a loan is not looked upon as income either. It's not, you don't have
Hmm.
to write it off on taxes. You don't have to do it because it's a loan.
Right.
So this is why we teach people how to gain access to these things so that they can go ahead and start gaining a hold of those assets that's now going to start paying them. But yeah, there's a lot of people who don't have jobs, or they have jobs and they just learn how to leverage their credit in different ways. And a lot of times they come to us so that they can learn how to do that effectively and efficiently. But yeah, it's having access to credit is not hard. Once you get one card and you maintain it and do what you're supposed to do, the rest of the cards are going to be easy. And the better you are at maintaining your credit, the bigger cards like the black cards and all those things, those are going to
Yeah.
start coming too.
Okay. Okay. So how long does it usually take once you start the credit process, you start seeing things drop off?
It depends. So normally within 30 to 45 days, my clients do start to see things falling off their credit file.
Okay.
So it doesn't take long at all. We have a program where I have a legal team that actually does work, and they do expedite the process a little faster. So usually within 3 weeks to 6 months, that file is done. But typical credit restoration is about 3 months to 12 months on average. It
Okay,
really
that's still
depends on
not
that
bad.
person's file.
Right,
So,
that's still
so if
not
it's
bad at
taking you
all.
5 years to jack up your credit, a year to get it together, it won't hurt you.
Not
But
at all.
no.
True story.
Yeah.
So, what are some other ways to build your credit besides just the credit card itself?
One of the good ways to I like to have people do is if they are a member of a credit union to get a secure card with a credit union or even a secured loan. Of course, pay on it for a few months and then pay it off, and that's going to show that you've paid off a debt. Or get a secure credit card and just make your monthly payments. After about 6 months or so, they're going to turn that into an unsecured card. They'll start to see, and also they'll look at your credit file because they can still see your credit. They'll see that you're making strides to get your credit in order. So usually in about 6 months to a year, that'll turn into an unsecured card, and then they'll start offering you other cards, and that's or car loans. I tell people, and this is another gem I want to drop. When you're looking for a car, don't go to a car dealership. I recommend that if you are with a credit union, build up your credit if it's not there, but go apply at your credit union, Navy Fed, USAA, somebody,
Right.
get the approval, then go buy the car. Because when you go to a dealership, they run your credit about 50, 11 times, right?
True.
So, and then they'll tell you, oh, it's not going to matter. It's all going to count as one. And that's not the case. Each inquiry is about 2 points on average, 2 to 3
Oh,
points
wow.
off your credit score. But they're just trying to get you in house. The other
Right.
thing is it's illegal technically for you to put a down payment on a car.
Really? They've
Yeah,
been tricking me.
they've been tricking everybody at the dealership.
Everybody.
So what happens is, if, like I just said, if you go to Navy Fed and they approve you for $40,000, they're not asking you for $5,000. They're not. They're
True.
going to give you the $40,000 check and tell you to go find your car. Once you get the car, the dealership will send everything over, or you'll get all the VIN information over to them, all the car information over to them, so that they can have a lien on that car. But when you're at a dealership, and your credit is not so great, let's say, they may say, well, in order to get this approved, you have to put down 5,000. I've even heard 10,000 before.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't heard that much, but
Yeah, somebody
wow.
responded to me in my DM one time, and they said that they had to put down 10,000. I don't know, it
Wow.
probably was a Range Rover or something crazy.
Oh.
But
Okay.
they had to put down 10,000, and they don't have to do that, because had they gone to Navy Fed and got approved, then Navy Fed would have gave them the 80,000 with no down payment. If you approve, you're approved,
Right.
right? So there's a thing called TILA, TILA. So you can look that up, but it's really, what happens is when you're at the dealership, they're supposed to disclose this information. It's supposed to be full disclosure that this money that's being given to them is going to be deducted off of my balance. So if you have 5,000, it's better to just pay your car note with that when the bill comes in. But what's happening is when you give them that 5,000, let's say, it's going to the dealership. That's going towards their bonuses and their pay, their
Mm.
salary. That's what happens. It's not going to the bank.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of I'm sure they don't want people to know that, but that's
It's
how we want
okay.
to get people to that's how they get the deal closed. They make you come up with some money in order to make that happen. That's if you're buying. Now, when it comes to leasing, it might be those rules might be a little
Right.
different, because they do kind of disclose it on the little advertisements and things like that. But when it comes to you actually buying a car and getting financing for a car, not leasing, then you shouldn't have to put that down payment down.
Okay. So, if you don't have, if you're not banking with a certain bank,
Mhm.
can you still get a loan for that, or that actually has to be your bank that you're
It's
banking with?
better to be a member of the bank or
Right.
a customer of the bank, especially a credit union. That's why if you're not with a credit union, I suggest that you get one, because you're going to get better rates anyway.
Right.
You're going to get better terms, you're going to get better rates, and you'll probably get higher approvals. And that way you get to choose the car that you really want to drive, as opposed to getting a 2013 for $500 a month. Who wants, that's not, I'm not
No,
doing no.
I agree.
No. So, and that's going to come with a lot of problems. And then they'll tell you that the
Right.
warranty ran out when the car goes crazy on you. So
Right.
yeah, no. So it's better to just it's all that again. You're going to avoid the inquiries. You're going to get the cash, and if there's any change left over, many instances you can just keep it. So
Yeah. That make plenty of sense.
mhm.
Ooh, honey, I'm loving this. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
and you can negotiate, right? So if the car
Right.
is you come with $30,000 check, and you like, give me that car for 25. You could get to
Right.
walk away with 5,000. So yeah,
Yeah. A lot of them will jump on it
yeah,
because you're paying it off. So a lot of them will jump on it.
exactly.
So that makes sense though. So some of these companies, like you were saying, I forgot what company it was. It might have been Equifax. But some of them charge like $30 a month.
Oh, for your
So
monitoring, your credit
mm,
monitoring.
right,
Mhm.
and to supposedly help repair your credit. Are those good companies?
Well, you mean those are the Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion are the three credit reporting agencies. Most of us know those as the credit bureaus, right?
Right.
But they're not bureaus. They use that term because it makes them sound like they're part of the government, but they're regular corporations. They're not a part of the government. It makes them sound big and bad, but they're regular, companies.
Right.
But they monitor. Those are the companies that sell our data to insurance companies, to the dealerships, and all these other different places. They market our information. So whatever they have is going to be what their algorithm is what creates our scores, I should say. So you have to be mindful of that. But those are the holy trinity of credit, to be honest with you. Um, you want to have credit monitoring. I look at it as insurance, right?
Right.
If this 3-digit number is going to help me get access to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions in assets, you want to protect that number, your credit file. You don't want anybody stealing your data because it's a whole process trying to get out of that conundrum, right? So we don't want to get ourselves, stuck in something that is going to cause all kinds of chaos in our lives financially when people steal our identity. But look at it as insurance. If it's $30 to insure this asset, my credit score, my credit file, then it's worth that investment because those companies have insurance as well that
Okay.
protect your. So if something happens, you'll get an alert. Somebody tries to apply for credit, you'll get an alert. So it's kind of a safeguard of protecting one of the most important assets you have, which would be your credit score.
Okay. True.
So,
So how long does it typically take for someone to uh have that like that good credit?
um, well, let me. Good credit is. I'm a kind of describe good credit.
Oh.
When it comes to funding, I've had to turn down 800 credit scores and approved a 680 credit score.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, and the reason I say that is because one or two items on your credit report could give you a 800 credit, well, a good strong 700 score, but
Right.
it might not have any history. So when
Mm.
you go to apply for credit, the computer systems look at your credit file first, right? There's an algorithm that they're looking for. They want to see a certain number of revolving, certain number of installments, and things of that nature. Not too many inquiries, because those things could kick out the approval or the decline. So a strong 680 credit score can actually get approved a lot faster than a good 800. A low
Oh.
800
Oh wow.
because it will have a mortgage, it'll have a car loan, it'll have 3 credit cards, it'll have a couple of student loans. It has history, right? It's you have proven that you have paid some bills, that you are, responsible with your credit. But if you just got a car loan 2 months ago and you just got your first credit card for $500, you can't get $100,000 loan. That's not gonna,
Yeah,
you
that
you
makes
haven't.
sense.
The banks are not going to feel warm and fuzzy about.
Right.
That's not going to happen. So I tell people to look at it as if somebody came to you who had this kind of history and said, "Hey, can I have $100,000? I mean, I know I just paid my car note just 2 months only, and I just got this credit card yesterday, but I got approved." You're not going to give them.
No.
You probably not going to give them $10. So
Right. That
you have
makes
to put yourself in the bank's shoes when it comes
yeah.
to, people get, all in their feelings. Well, I got denied and I got an 800 score. It's like, but you're a baby in credit. So you got to grow
Right.
up. When you grow
Right.
up, then the banks will be like, they'll be throwing money at you. So just,
Right.
give it time.
Okay, so do you start seeing results then or like months down the line whenever you start
It
when
starts
stuff start
months.
coming
It's,
off?
it's it's a process. So you're building, good 6 months. A good 6 months plus starts to get you that rhythm going, right? At least give yourself 6 months of good positive history. That's why when people come on board with me, I usually start them with that building process of adding credit to their file. Even if it's to go to the credit union and get a secure card or a Bank of America or somewhere, so that they can then start that boosting process. Because
Right.
if you have a bad credit file, 500 scores, 400 scores, that's a dead credit file. So it's my job to show you how to resurrect that file. We have to breathe new life into it. And the only way to do that is to add positive credit so that those, the algorithms can start algorithming.
Right.
They can start moving, things can start shaking. You got to wake up that credit file because it's been laying dormant for so long. So we have to just wake it up.
Right. So do
Yeah.
you feel like it's important to have good credit?
It's imperative to have good credit. I tell people it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Because at any moment, if you have a house and something goes down, guess what? You might not have the cash, but you got the credit. If your car goes kaput, you might not have the cash, but
Right.
you might
It's
have
true.
the credit. So people can buy a
Yeah.
car with credit and not have a job.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that
it's
makes
yeah, it's
sense.
always better to have it and not need it and to need and not have it. I guess like a gun, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. So is it true that some file like some people if they do file for bankruptcy
Mhm.
um that their credit basically is clear like they won't see the negatives on there?
So sometimes we still see it on the file, but it will say that they filed for a bankruptcy, right?
Okay.
So it's going to say that. Um, Technically, like I said, it shouldn't say that because the courthouses don't report to none of the credit reporting agencies. So again, there's third-party companies that go and buy this information and sell that information to them, so that they can again charge more money for your file. That's how that works. But I want people to also realize that when it comes to bankruptcy, don't be ashamed if you're in a position where you feel like you're overwhelmed and you need to file for bankruptcy. It's a tool that billionaires use all the time. So if you are far from being a billionaire and you are struggling and they use it, then it's there for you to use it too. So don't feel ashamed because just like, they're still billionaires and they file bankruptcy. So that means you can rebound as well. And it doesn't take 7 or 10 years to rebound. Give it, once your bankruptcy is discharged, you can start that rebuilding process from that moment.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is what's up. So what are some of the tips you can give the viewers about maintaining their credit?
Maintaining your credit is really just making sure one of the things is, especially with credit cards, if you cannot pay it off, don't charge it, right? So if you have $1,000 credit limit and you need to spend $500, I would say pay back at least $400 by your statement date, right? Or sometimes what I'll do is I'll pay every week on my cards or every other week because it looks like more payments are hitting my account. And
Right.
that helps them to, it looks like I'm making more payments when I'm not. And when I do that, my score starts to go up, right?
Right.
But I'm also bringing my utilization down at the same time. So if I go to the grocery store, a lot of times I'll just go and put the money right on the card because instead of me, I'm going to get my points. That's the real reason. But so I was going to spend the money anyway. So just move it right on
Right.
over. Look at your credit card as it's because it's recyclable, right? Yes, I'm paying my bill, but if I put money on it, I can use that money again.
Right.
So that's how the only way that doesn't work is if you have not, if you've just been paying the minimum, that means you've been paying a lot of interest. So if you're only
Oh,
paying the minimum, then you're going to find yourself in a pickle pretty much where you're just paying interest. You're not even touching the balance. That's why I said if you cannot afford to bring that balance down, then don't spend on that card. So if you're going to spend 1,000, make sure you can put at least 800 to 900 on there by the statement date. Because if not, you're going to wind up being one of those people who ends up paying a lot of money in interest unnecessarily. That's like the stupid tax. Why give the bank more money? Give them a little bit, because again, they're your business partner, but
Right.
we don't want to keep giving them interest and my balances are not going down. So again, just make sure that you are positioning yourself to say, I'm going to spend this $800, but by the 15th, I'm going to make sure I pay it off. That way, I don't want you to pay it all the way off the first time, because I used to test that out myself. My score, when I let the bank eat a little bit, my scores went up higher. But if I
Right.
pay it off right away, then my scores didn't do too much. So that's why I tell people, just, put at least 80% of what you owe on there, and then maybe a few weeks later pay the balance. But just let the banks eat a little bit.
Right. Well, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
That'll
Okay.
help.
That makes plenty of sense. I'm loving this. So what are some of your platforms where they can get in contact with you or follow you, so they, if someone wants to get their credit repaired or need help in getting a loan or anything, how could they get in contact with you?
Well, they can go to either creditlady.info, or one of my newer platforms is Credit Lady Connection, because that's where I'm showing people how to not only, well, creditladyconnection.com and creditlady.info, but creditladyconnection.com is where I'm showing people how to not only repair, restore, and rebuild their credit, but I'm also taking them through the process through training on how to start that process of building wealth. My mission again is not to just have people who are coming to me to just get their credit fixed. I want people to become partners with me, because I am a private banker. I have the ability to, we can buy properties together, we can buy businesses together, and we can have, it's better, people are out here trying to start businesses all the time, but isn't it better to have ownership in multiple businesses, and
Yeah.
just that you don't have to work in and the checks just keep coming in?
Yeah.
So that's the type of thing that I want people to understand, is that when you learn how to do credit and money the proper way, then you can have ownership in multiple things that you don't even have to work in. So that's
Okay.
what we do. But creditladyconnection.com or creditlady.info, and on Instagram, credit.lady is my Instagram handle, credit.lady.
Okay, so you guys, y'all make sure y'all go follow her page. Go get some info, especially the one that needs their credit repair. Even if you don't, go on there, follow her, and definitely hit her up. And I want to thank you so much for being a
Well,
guest. This
thank you
was
for
a
having me. I
pleasure.
appreciate you.
Absolutely. And I
Mhm.
enjoyed every minute of it. I'm taking this all in. I also will be looking you up as well.
Thank you. I
So
appreciate it.
absolutely. So until next time, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, peace.
All right.